Now finches are one of the smallest group of birds in Australia, and they feed mostly on seed from our native grasses. This finch was discovered in the 1800s by a well-known ornithologist called John Gould. When he first saw the bird, he described it as one of the most beautiful birds he'd ever seen, and so he named it after his late wife. Now you can see they have brightly coloured feathers, and you can tell the males from the females because the purple breast on the males is more deeper and brighter than the pale purple on the female. You may also notice we have different colour heads in this aviary. Now in the wild there are 3 main head colours. 75% of them have black heads, 25% have red heads, and only 0.1% have yellow heads. That's only 1 in 1,000 that have yellow heads. Now, Goodyan finches were found right across the top end of Australia. They prefer open woodland and grassland habitats, but they don't stray far from water. By the year 2005, they'd become endangered, and their numbers fell below 3,000. They're now only found in a handful of places across the top end, with the closest populations to Darwin being around Pine Creek and Katherine, with a few numbers around Kakadu. Now I quite often take a drive down to Pine Creek to see these birds. But last year, for the first time, I travelled just 4 kilometres from my house in Darwin River and discovered hundreds of Gouldians where I'd never seen them before. And shortly after, up to 1,000 were regularly seen just down the road at a nearby caravan park. At the same time, they were spotted in small groups in Darwin. So we believe the reason they moved further north was because we had a few bad wet seasons in a row, and they were just travelling further up to find a better food and water source at the end of the dry season. Now there's several reasons why Gouldian finches became endangered. Firstly, of course, trapping for the worldwide pet trade and natural diseases wiped out thousands alone. Then, of course, there's land clearing, overgrazing by feral and farm animals such as horses, pigs and cows, and a change in fire regimes. These changes meant the change in vegetation. It wasn't ideal for these fussy little birds who have a select and small range of preferred grass seed. Also, when finches molt, they need a high nutrition in the seed, and Gouldians molt at the end of the dry season. And if the grasses have been overburnt, the nutrition isn't there for them to cope. So how can we help? Well, if we all live on some land, we can let the native grasses, trees and grow, and keep the hollow trees there for them to nest in. Make sure we don't overburn, and especially in the late dry season, try not to burn at all. You've been watching these busy little birds in this aviary move around in here. Some are looking for nesting options because we're in the middle of their breeding season. Now these are the only finches in Australia that use hollows for nesting. All the other finches build their nests out of grass. The hollow trees are normally salmon gums, which are like a smooth bark eucalyptus tree, and which are common around the rocky slopes in the Pine Creek region. Most of the time they will choose a partner of the same head colour. Though we've observed in this aviary red-headed males selecting black-headed females, and we've also observed females courting with more than one male. Now, they've done lots of research as scientists, and they've looked at the breeding results in pairs with different head colours, and what they've discovered is that the success rate in breeding isn't as good when different coloured heads do pair up. They've also observed, and we have in this aviary as well, that red-headed males are the most dominant finch of all the birds. And those finches will spend more time chasing the other birds out of the nest, destroying the nest, destroying their eggs, and even destroying their young, and they'll do that before raising their own. So communal breeding is not a good idea in aviaries. So what we've done is set up some breeding aviaries off site. We've put one pair with the same head colour in each aviary with 2 nest boxes, and so far we've got 10 chicks that have fledged. Now we had to trial a different range of foods to stimulate the breeding, and we found the most successful food to give them was fresh seeding grasses. Now it was quite hard to find at first these seeding grasses because the speargrass hadn't seeded, but we did search high and low and got some cockatoo grass and old man's beard grass, and that got them through until the speargrass seeded. Now just a few statistics on Gouldian finch breeding. So they lay between 3 and 7 eggs. Both sexes will incubate the eggs for up to 13 days. They will then hatch and stay in the nest for up to 21 days, and then they're completely independent at 40 days of age. Now what's really cute to see, you can get online and have a look at these, but little baby finches are tiny pink featherless chicks, and they've got these bright white fluorescent like dots around their beaks, and the parents need them because when they fly into the dark hollows they can see where the young is and feed them. They take about a year or so to colour up as well. Now I was fortunate to be involved in the surveys of Gouldian finches at Keep River and Yimberley near Edith Falls back in 2007. So a small group of us would get together before first light and head up to a known water source. Some of the size of the pond in this aviary, so really small. There were lots of different birds that joined in because at the end of the dry season sometimes that's the only water source left for many kilometres around. So we sat there quietly before the sun came up, and then the birds came in to have a drink. There were lots of other birds with the Gouldians, such as hooded parrots, diamond doves, marsh finches, long-tailed finches, and a great range of honey eaters. So if you guys want to get out and bird watch, get out there early in the morning before they get their first drink. Just be really mindful of the birds and not to disturb them. Sit quietly, try and camouflage in amongst the existing landscape. Get the sun behind you so you can see what's coming out, and just sit there quietly, and the patience will reward you with some beautiful birds.